very, very disappointing to come away with a loss in that game. Can't be -2 versus a good football team, and that's really the story of the football game.
5-man pressure. Flacco on a slant off the... Flacco sets up the screen, but it's batted down.
The Cleveland Browns were inches away from pulling off a huge opening day win until Joe Flacco's 2 brutal interceptions completely destroyed their chances. With the game on the line, Flacco's mistakes weren't just bad throws. They were the kind of backbreaking errors that can haunt a team for weeks. It was a gut-wrenching loss, especially after the Browns fought so hard to stay alive. But those 2 passes straight to the Bengals? That was the turning point, the exact moment Cincinnati grabbed control and shut the door. And let's be real, this isn't only about those interceptions. The truth is, a lot more went wrong for Flacco and the Browns in this game. So let's break it down and expose exactly how it all collapsed. Flacco looked rusty from the very first snap. It wasn't only the interceptions that gave you that sick feeling, it was his entire body language and approach. Right from the jump, his throws were rushed, shaky, and miles away from what you expect from a veteran quarterback. The first red flag came early in the opening quarter. The Browns had a huge chance and Flacco needed to hit Jerry Jeudy, who was wide open. But instead of an easy completion, Flacco sailed it way over his head. The ball slipped past and the drive stalled. From that moment, you could sense the frustration boiling. That single misfire told fans everything. Flacco wasn't the guy they thought he still could be. And that kind of rust doesn't just disappear in a must-win battle. Sadly for Cleveland, that ugly start didn't just ruin one drive. It set the tone for the entire disaster that followed. Interview. And that rust didn't stop there. It kept showing up on every snap Joe Flacco took. Just when fans thought it couldn't get worse, he messed up again. This time he tried to improvise, moving around the Bengals' defense.
5-man pressure. Flacco on a slant off the...
In conclusion, Joe Flacco's first game of the season showed exactly why he's no longer seen as one of the league's elite quarterbacks. From rushed throws to killer turnovers, his performance was a brutal reminder that his best years are behind him. It's like he had something to prove. But instead of staying calm, Flacco slipped up. In his scramble, he lost the ball, not just the possession, but the chance to keep the drive alive, tossing it out of bounds and wasting it all. By then, the ugly truth was obvious. Flacco was falling apart right in front of everyone. Every move looked forced, rushed, and completely out of sync with what the Browns needed. For a quarterback who was supposed to bring stability, he was quickly turning into a liability. The clock was running, and with every screw-up, the pressure piled higher. Then came the moment that broke the game wide open. A reckless throw by Flacco. With the Browns still hanging on, he tried to fire off a quick pass, but once again he made the worst choice possible. Instead of hitting a receiver with some space, he forced it to a runner who was surrounded by Bengals defenders. The pass was rushed, the window was gone, and just like that, Cincinnati snatched the ball out of the air. Interception. That pick wasn't just a mistake, it was the game changer. Up until then, the Bengals were chasing. But after that turnover, they smelled blood, and they went for the kill. For Flacco, it was even more humiliating. The magic was gone. The confidence was gone. And with it, the Browns' shot at an opening win began to vanish. That interception wasn't just costly, it handed Cincinnati the momentum they needed to flip the game in their favor. And if fans thought that was the last of it, they were dead wrong. Just one play later, the nightmare repeated itself. Another rushed throw, another drop, and this time the ball slipped right out of the receiver's hands. The Browns had zero chance to recover, and it felt like deja vu. The pressure was eating Flacco alive, and with each snap he looked more rattled. His throws? Off. His decisions? Panicked. His rhythm? Completely gone. The Browns' entire confidence drained with every mistake. And then, as if things couldn't get uglier, Flacco, crushed under pressure, threw yet another careless ball that killed another possession. After the game, head coach Kevin Stefanski spoke to the media, and his frustration was written all over his face. You could see the weight of the loss dragging him down. He admitted things could have turned out differently if the Browns had taken care of the small details. He specifically called out the tipped balls that turned into back-breaking turnovers. Those errors were avoidable, Stefanski said. And had the team been more disciplined, the outcome could have been tighter, maybe even a win. But it wasn't just the turnovers. Stefanski's frustration boiled down to this. The Browns had control at moments, they were within striking distance. But sloppy mistakes stacked up, and Flacco's failure to deliver in the biggest moments made a bad situation even worse. His failure to find rhythm and constant mistakes under pressure buried the Browns in a game they could have won. At this point, it's hard to deny the reality. Flacco just isn't the same player anymore. If his play keeps looking this sloppy and reckless, the Browns will be left with no choice but to bench him. And here's where it gets even more controversial. Both Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel are waiting on the sidelines, and with their raw talent and potential, the writing is already on the wall for Flacco. The Browns can't afford to keep riding with a quarterback who's falling apart right before our eyes. If this downward spiral continues, it won't be long before one of the younger QBs gets the starting role. Flacco's future in Cleveland is officially hanging by a thread. If he doesn't turn it around fast, a quarterback change could happen sooner than anyone expects. Oh, now the big question is, what do you think? Should the Browns finally move on from Flacco, or does he deserve more time to shake off the rust? Was this meltdown just a fluke, or proof that his days as a starter are done? With Shedeur and Dillon
very, very disappointing to come away with a loss in that game. Can't be -2 versus a good football team, and that's really the story of the football game.
And that's the reality Browns fans are facing right now. Passing on Shedeur Sanders may go down as one of the biggest mistakes in recent memory, and the backlash is only growing louder. What do you think? Did the Browns get it all wrong? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest updates.